And it is Red Tape Awareness Week. The theme this year is making life easier for Canadians to navigate economic uncertainty. Now, this is the 17th year for the event, which is an initiative of the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, and is meant to draw attention to the ways red tape impacts business owners and ordinary Canadians. Joining us from Fredericton is Frédéric Gionnet, the director of the CFIB in Atlantic Canada. Good morning, Frédéric.
Good morning.
So let's talk about Red Tape Awareness Week. Why is this something that all Canadians should be concerned about?
Well, we started 17 years ago to raise public awareness about how excessive red tape affects business owners and Canadians at large, and to challenge governments across the country to reduce their regulatory burden. Every year, every government, there's new rules, new regulations, but very few of them go back and kind of do some cleanup on these. So they keep accumulating and to the point of being somewhat ludicrous over time and just burdening down everybody. Everybody has to deal with government fill forms. It gets heavier and heavier and more complicated to do things.
Can you give us a quick example of what red tape might mean to ordinary Canadians?
Well, this week we had a slew of releases, but today we're focusing on physicians and red tape, and everybody has concern about healthcare. Doctors in Canada lose 20 million hours every year to unnecessary paperwork. That's the equivalent of 9,000 full-time physicians. And individually, every doctor loses up almost 200 hours a year, more than a full month to perform in administrative tasks. So that's an idea of how burdensome some of these things can be. We know some regulations are good, but sometimes just overdoing it will just kind of burden the whole system. And then that's an example for the healthcare system. But there's plenty of other examples across the country.
Yeah, so red tape is government forms. Maybe give a couple of examples for people at home can understand how red tape is impacting their lives.
Well, it's insurance paper. On the table of doctors, it's insurance paperwork, government forms, permits. Then steps into permitting. Last year we studied the cost of doing bathroom renovations across the country, and the results were staggering. From 200 plus days in some part of the countries to 20 days in the other. It's just the forms, the inspections, the steps, the rules that just get heavier and heavier as you go around. And it's just amazing. The more you peel, the more you find more rules.
Yeah. I've heard there's even customer service has an element of red tape to it that can slow people down in their lives.
Exactly. It's just a question of dealing with government, your interface with government at every time, whether it's municipal, provincial, or federal. There's always more room to improvement in there. And that's a low-hanging fruit for government to cut costs. And because once you know all the rules, once you know how many rules you have, you can go on a diet after that. And it becomes a roadmap to make government leaner and meaner.
So we only have about 45 seconds left, but I know that you're later going to release a red tape report card. Can you give us a little bit of preview of how our provinces are doing right now?
Well, most provinces have done some improvement. Some little improvement, some kind of stay staggered. For example, Nova Scotia was a leader across the nation, and it still remains a leader today. So they've set the bar for other provinces to by having dedicated resources, a messaging from the top, from the premiers themselves, mandate letters that really encroach, entrench the premise of keeping government a little smaller and keeping it to account when it comes to rules. And some provinces haven't done fairly well. We have an F in the report card. It's going to be released next week, but not in Atlantic Canada, I can tell you that. So there's some improvement. We see that governments are taking it a little more seriously, some more than others, but it's still an ongoing thing. After 17 years, we still keep reminding governments that they need to go on a regulatory diet, and some provinces have done just that, but many others are still awaiting the more pressure or more initiative to do so.
Well, Frédéric, we really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much.
A pleasure.
Happy Red Tape Awareness Week to you. We're on day one. We put more information about the event on our website, so you can find out more and also learn about the Red Tape Challenge. We'll take a break and be right back after this.